What's going on, guys? Owens Forum coming, guys. Down another video. Today's video, we do the preview. It's week 8. Titans coming to Ford Field to face our Detroit Lions. Titans coming in at 1-5, and Detroit Lions at 5-1. The Lions are back home. This is like they get a little bit of break from being on the road. Then they go back on the road for like another 2 games. But a lot of people talk about this football game with the Titans. A lot of people think this is a trap game. Because the Titans are a 1-5 team. They're not really got guys that are 1-5 personnel over there. You know, they're just a bad team. They got quarterback issues. They got all kinds of issues. They have a pretty good defense, though, and actually a really good defense at times. And offense is more their problem. And people, like I said, talking about this as a trap game, we could possibly lose this football game if we're not careful. Dan Campbell out there talking about they're not taking these guys lightly. This is the NFL. Everybody's good in their own sense. And you do have to be aware of that, though. But let's talk about some injuries that are coming up. We do the Titans first because they are the road team. That's how we do things. So the Titans got left tackle, offensive lineman Jalen Duncan, hamstring. Did not practice. He is officially out. Cornerback Ladarius Sneed was a big acquisition by them in the offseason. Coming from the Chiefs, paid him a lot of money. He's got a quad injury, did not practice. He's officially out too. The linebacker Cedric Gray, shoulder. He was a full practice on a Friday, but he is labeled out too as well. Linebacker Jerome Baker, rest. They just traded for him. It's the second time Baker's been traded in this season so far. He was with Miami, then he went to Seattle, then Seattle traded him to the Tennessee. So he's on rest. He's limited practice, so he's questionable. Probably doesn't know the playbook just yet. Maybe he gets some snaps. Who knows? But he's a pretty good linebacker. He's actually not that bad of a linebacker. Then Will Levis, who was their starting quarterback at the beginning of the year, has gotten a shoulder. It's his shoulder on his throwing arm, his right shoulder. He was a limited practice. He's questionable too as well. If not, it'll be Mason Rudolph. We'll talk about that. And then running back Tyjae Spears, hamstring, limited practice, questionable. Nose tackle rookie T'Vondre Sweat, hip, did not practice. He is questionable, so I'll probably test that out. Cornerback Jarvis Brownlee Jr., ankle, limited practice, questionable. Wide receiver Calvin Ridley, another big acquisition by them who hasn't done much. Had like one big game. Foot injury, full practice, no injury designation. Looks like he's going. Defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons, who's an absolute beast of a defensive tackle. Some rest, full practice on Friday. No injury designation. Running back Julius Chestnut, calf, full practice, no injury designation. And then defensive lineman Keandre Coburn, he has a knee and he had an illness, did not practice, no injury designation, no. Linebacker Kenneth Murray Jr., shoulder, full practice, no injury designation. So they got a couple injuries, and a couple big guys out. Duncan, I think it was their starting tackle. And Ladarius Sneed is a pretty damn good corner, but he is out. So let's go to the Lions. Pretty clean, guys. They're actually pretty clean. Offensive guard rookie Christian Mahogany, illness still. He's still coming back, fighting that mono. Full practice. He is out though. Defensive end Josh Pascal had an illness, something to do with his. If you know the story about Joshua Pascal, I'll try to make it a little bit quick. He had cancer when he was in college. And there was talk about him never ever playing again. And who knew how long he was going to live. He fought that. He fought the cancer, beat it. Something came up in some type of test, in a checkup. And he wasn't feeling too hot. So I think everything came clear. But I think it had something to do with his cancer that he had years prior. But he didn't practice. He's out. So big wishes to Pascal. It looks like he's okay, though. Hopefully everything's good. Offensive tackle Taylor Decker, rest, full practice, no injury designation. Guard Graham Glasgow, rest, full practice, no injury designation. And then defensive lineman Levi Onwuzurike, rest as well, full practice, no injury designation. Center Frank Ragnow, rest, full practice, no injury designation. Then offensive guard Kevin Zeitler, starter, groin. He had a full practice on Friday, no injury designation, so it looks like he's a go. So our O-line's back to normal again. Because last week, Coyote Awosika Struggled mightily in that first half of that Vikings game. Played better in the second half, though. Now let's talk about some of the rosters. We'll talk about Titans first. Now it looks like Will Levis will be testing out that shoulder. It's probably going to be Mason Rudolph, but who knows if it's, so it's quarterback Mason Rudolph or Will Levis. Two guys that aren't very good quarterbacks. I'm not going to sit here and try to convince anybody that these guys are good. Okay, I liked Will Levis coming out of college. He hasn't shown that yet. He's got a big arm. He's super athletic. He's a big kid. He makes a lot of dumb mistakes, though. And he shouldn't be in what is he in year 3 now? 2-3. So he makes a lot of mistakes. Mason Rudolph been around a little bit. Played for the Steelers. I don't know if he's played for anybody else, really. Maybe a couple other teams. Backed up Ben Roethlisberger before. Been around a little bit. He's not a good quarterback either. Nothing special. But these guys are NFL quarterbacks. I'm not here to slander these guys, but they're just nothing special. Running back, Tony Pollard. Tyjae Spears, Julius Chestnut. Pollard's not a bad running back, believe it or not, coming from the Cowboys. Wide receiver, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, and rookie Jaquan Jackson. Calvin Ridley was, the big money acquisition, hasn't done much. Tyler Boyd coming over from the Bengals. They struggle. These guys are struggling, man. And then tight end, Chig Okonkwo, pretty good tight end, athletic, big. Not having a great year, though. Left tackle, looks like rookie J.C. Latham is going to be in there. Left guard, Peter Skoronski, who's a pretty good guard. Center, Lloyd Cushenberry III. Right guard, Dylan Raduns. And right tackle, Nicholas Petit Frere. I think that kid's Canadian, by the way, Petit Frere. I think that's small potato. If I can remember my French. I am Canadian. You guys didn't know that, but I don't live in a place where speaking Canadian is a must. We have a couple Canadian schools in a couple French schools in my city, and that you just speak complete French. But I've never gone to those schools. I went to public schools and where we spoke English. But hey, speaking French is it's a very good thing to do, by the way, off topic. It's a very good thing to do, especially for your resume as a young kid. If you're a parent out there and you want to get your kids into something, if any Canadians are watching, or Americans, it doesn't really matter. If you're going to send them to a school across the border, if you're going to in Canada, send them to a school that they speak just French, because it's really good to have on their resume. But I think that does mean small potato. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But anyways, he's a right tackle, so he's probably not too small. And now defense, Sebastian Joseph Day. Nose tackle rookie T'Vondre Sweat. It's a pretty good one. He's going to be questionable too. Defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons, one of the best defensive tackles in the game. He is an animal. So our guards and our center will have a tough day with Jeffrey Simmons. Left outside linebacker Harold Landry, the third, come to Detroit. Linebacker Jerome Baker, Jack Gibbons. Who knows if Baker's going to be playing, so you might see a lot of Jack Gibbons. Linebacker Kenneth Murray Jr. Outside linebacker Arden Key. Cornerback, rookie Jarvis Brownlee Jr. Strong safety, Armani Hooker. Free safety, Quandre Diggs, used to play for Detroit. Cornerback, Daryl Baker Jr., probably filling in for L'Jarius Sneed. And then nickelback, Roger McCreary. Now we talk about our Lions. Quarterback, Jared Goff. Running back, David Montgomery, Gibbs, Craig Reynolds. Wide receivers, we got J-Mo on suspension. You guys already know that. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, Tim Patrick. Allen Robinson, I think, is probably going to get activated for this game again. Actually, he's already been signed to the practice. He was assigned to the 53, so he'll be in there for sure. Could get some more snaps. So from the practice squad, you're probably going to see rookie Isaiah Williams from Illinois coming up. That's my guess. There's no, unless they do a Tom Kennedy thing again, or who knows what they're going to do, but I have a feeling it's going to be Isaiah Williams. Tight end, Sam Laporta. Left tackle, Taylor Decker. Left guard, Graham Glasgow. Center, Frank Ragnow. Right guard, Kevin Zeitler. And right tackle, Penei Sewell. Everybody back on that O-line again. It's a great offense. Can't say enough about it. It's a top 5 offense across the board. Pretty much. It is, in almost every metric, every category you want to talk about. Now, defense, Levi Muzurike at end. Nose tackle, DJ Reader. Defensive tackle, Alim McNeil. Defensive end, this is going to be a problem because Pascal's not playing. You guys know about Davenport being hurt. You know about Hutch being hurt. Hutch right here. It looks like James Houston's probably starting. Do something. You know what I mean? So someone's going to get called up. Is it going to be Mitchell Gude? Isaac Ukwu again. I believe this will be the third time. If it's Ukwu, it's the third time that I think they have to sign him to the roster. So I don't know if it's going to be Ukwu. Could it be Al Quadin Muhammad, who's been around a little bit, not that old, though, 28, 29 years old. He's got some experience getting to the quarterback. He's not you know what I mean? He's been on a bunch of teams, all 3, 4, 5 teams, whatever he's been on. Could he be a guy that they bring up from the practice squad? Who knows? And then I already said Mitchell Agude. So who knows what's going on with this defensive end stuff? They need to do something, but whatever. Linebacker Alex Anzalone, linebacker Jack Campbell. You're going to see a lot of Malcolm Rodriguez in there. You're going to see a lot of Trevor Nowaski in there. Those two guys are making plays, man. Rodriguez and Nowaski and Campbell and Anzalone. They're all making plays. They're playing really good. I think they're playing well. Cornerback Carlton Davis III. Strong safety Kirby Joseph. Free safety Brian Branch having a stud year. Both these safeties are. Cornerback rookie Terrion Arnold, who's getting better. And nickelback Amik Robertson. Defense is getting better, man. We're suffering some injuries. We still don't have a pass rush, even though we did some things last week with the blitz. We'll see what happens this week. Now let's do the offensive and defensive rankings NFL. We'll do the offense first. We'll do the Titans. 259.2 yards. That's 31st in the NFL. They're not a good offense total. Not a good offense altogether. Rushing per game. They do rush for 113.3 yards a game. That puts them at 18th in the league. Tony Pollard's a big part of that. Rush per rush, 4.3, puts them at 9th in the NFL. They're passing for only 145.8 yards a game. That's 32 in the NFL. They cannot pass the ball. QBR is 71.2. That's 32, worse than the NFL. Sacks, they've given up 19. That's tied for 10th. They're turning third down percentages. They're turning third downs into first down at a 31.1%. That's 29th in the NFL. It's not that good. They're on the field 31 minutes 45 seconds. That's 7th in the NFL. They're scoring 17.7 points a game. That's tied for 28th. So not a very good offense, guys. They can run the ball a little, and that's really about it. Now the Lions. Yards per game, 411.8. That's 2 in the NFL, number 2. Rush per game, 155.5. That's 4. 4th overall. Rush per, that's 4.9 yards per rush. 6. That's 6 in the NFL. They're passing for 256.3 a game. That's 3rd in the NFL. QBR's at 113.3. That's number 2 in the NFL. They've given up 14 sacks. That's tied for 5th. They're turning third downs in the first downs at a 44.1%. That's 5th in the NFL. Possession, 31 minutes, 41 seconds per game. 8th in the NFL. And they're scoring 30.3 points a game. That puts them at number 2. So a juggernaut of an offense across the board. They can run. They can pass. They got a good O-line. They got a good offense, good quarterbacks, good wide receivers, good running backs. Everything is looking crisp in that offense in Detroit. Now let's do the defense. Titans first. Total, this is a defensive team. Yards per game, they're giving up 272.2 yards a game. That's number 1 in the NFL. So they have the number 1 off defense in the NFL when it comes to total yards. They're a good defense. They're a good defense. Rush per game, they're giving up 105.5. That's 7th in the NFL. Per rush, 3.9 yards. That's tied for 4th. They're only giving up 166.7 yards a game through the air. That's 3rd in the NFL. QBR, 89.3 against them. That's put them at 17. So some success a little bit. Quarterbacks are coming in there and kind of having a little bit of success, even though they're not throwing for a ton of yards. Third down percentages, they're stopping. So teams are getting 31.6% against them, getting the third into the first. That's tied. That's 5th in the NFL. It's really good. They're 28 minutes, 14 seconds on the field. That's 7th in the NFL for possession. And they're giving up 24 points a game. That puts them at 20th. So you can score a little bit on them, but 24 points is not that bad. It's really not. Now the Lions, 338.3 total yards against. That puts them at 18th. They're giving up 92.5 yards a game on the ground. That's 5th. Per rush, 4.6, tied for 10th. 245.8 yards passing against them. That's 27th. 79 QBR, that's 5th in the NFL. Sacks, they've got 19 sacks as a team. That's tied for 27th. Not good enough. Third downs against them, 31.2%. So that's fourth in the NFL, which is really nice. So not a lot of teams are getting first downs on them. Possession, 29 minutes, 5 seconds. That's tied for eighth. Well, not just 8 straight up. And then they're giving up 20 points a game. That's ninth in the NFL. So defense is much better than last year. We've talked about it 1,000 times. Still an elite run defense. They give up some yards in the pass. They get into the quarterback a little bit more, even with Hutch out. They got to scheme. They got to find ways to get there. But they did it last week, and they do it again against a worse O-line. Tennessee does not have a good O-line. They just don't. So, but now let's talk about the game. They got a couple guys on offense that I'm kind of concerned about. Not overly concerned. Tony Pollard's a pretty good running back. We handle running backs pretty good. You get to either quarterback starts for them, Mason Rudolph or Will Levis. You get to them, you're going to have success. They will make mistakes. In the long run, they might make a couple throws. Will Levis got a big arm. I don't even know if he's playing, but he can run a little bit. He's a big quarterback, but he's a little bit wild. He's a little bit wild, but who knows if he's playing? Rudolph's a little bit more reserved. Can't run as well, obviously, but they just got to get to these quarterbacks. They'll make mistakes, and then the wide receivers they got over there, Ridley and Boyd were they gave a little bit of money. These guys, Ridley's had one good game. Boyd, I don't know if he's even showed up. I don't know. Maybe he's had a good game. I don't really know too much about. The only reason I know about Calvin Ridley is because I have him in fantasy and I dropped him. I literally dropped him in fantasy. So he'll probably have a big game this week. But, they're hurting at wide receiver. They're not that good. They got a good tight end who was supposed to be this guy coming out, but he hasn't done much. He's had that one good year, kind of, hasn't done much this year. Their O-line is not very good. It's not very consistent. You can bully those guys on offense. So as a defense, we just stop Tony Pollard. I think that's not going to be a huge issue, but he's a guy that can break some tackles, got a little bit of speed to him. They like to pass the ball to him as well. And they'll use that as a short extension to the running game, right? So, I'm not worried about the overall offense over there in Tennessee. Our defense should be on these guys. Only the one or two guys that really make me nervous, and it's not even that I'm nervous, but just that some of these guys can make some plays. Pollard being one of them. Ridley can. Who knows what's going on with that kid's head though. He comes out and says things, and Tyler Boyd has some talent, but it's kind of a train wreck in Tennessee. Now defensively, that team is pretty good. They're a really good run defense. That doesn't mean we're going to stop running the ball because we love to run the football. It's our bread and butter. That's what Montgomery's there for. That's what Jahmyr Gibbs is there for, and that's what Goff lives off of. He lives off the play action. He lives off guys like Gibbs and Montgomery running well, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good situation to be in as a quarterback, especially at the NFL level. But they got a couple guys in there, man. Jeffrey Simmons is a one hell of a defensive tackle. Harold Landry can get to the quarterback a little bit. He's had back-to-back seasons where I think he had over 10 sacks. He's a guy that's been rumored to come to Detroit in a trade. Maybe this is a showcase, but he's a guy you got to look out for because he can get to the quarterback. And he's that left outside linebacker, so he's going to be on Sewell. He'll probably be on Sewell a bunch of times. It doesn't mean he can't switch over and work on Decker a little bit. So be prepared for that. Be prepared for Landry to come over to Decker's side a couple times, especially if Sewell is kind of manhandling him. We'll kind of see. Like we're going to see what happens there because Landry's pretty good. He's a good rush end, left outside linebacker, whatever you want to call him. And there's not a lot of guys that I'm worried about on this team defensively except for Landry and obviously Jeffrey Simmons. Devondre Sweat is a good rookie, but he's banged up. Kenneth Murray Jr. is not a bad linebacker. I liked him coming out of college. I think the Chargers had him for a bit. I don't know if they traded for him, Kenneth Murray, or he was a free agent signing. But I liked him coming out of college. Obviously, he didn't make it in LA, but he's not a bad linebacker. And then I'm not too worried about their secondary. Amani Hooker, Diggs as their safeties. I'm not too concerned. The Jarius Sneed being out for them is really going to hurt them. I believe, and run the ball against these guys. They do have a great run defense, like I said, but you're probably gonna pass against these guys more. Even though they have a good pass defense, they do, but they don't get to the quarterback. Having only 10 sacks on the year with a couple guys that get to the quarterback is bad. And I think they have 10 on the year. I believe Harold Landry has 5 of them. He has 5 or 6. So it's kind of like a Hutch situation over there. You know what I mean? But worse, but 10 times worse. You know, at least with Hutch, we were getting the pressures. He was getting up the big, there's other guys that were kind of eating a little bit more. But 10 sacks on the year and your one guy has 5, that shows something. Well, it's kind of our same situation though. Like I said, we had when Hutch went down, we had 7.5 sacks as a team. No, we had 15 sacks as a team, and Hutch had 7.5 of them. So it's half too, right? So it's not like our situation is completely different. I think our defense is overall better. But they do well in the yard department. They do well in the yard department, man. Being a great rush defense, 7th in the overall, and being a pass defense, like 166 yards per game, that's 3rd in overall. They do that. They give up some points, 24. It's not a lot, but they can give up some points. So you still got to run the ball. You just got to stick to the program, stick to what they're doing. But I can see this. Goff having a bigger day here. I can just see Goff having a bigger day, even though I think Montgomery and Gibbs are going to have some moments. I think passing the ball here is probably going to be their best bet to win this game. But I am not in that room. I'm not Ben Johnson. I don't care how they do it. Just win the game. But I think you're going to see big games from Amon-Ra. You're going to see big games from hopefully Laporta. Don't know who's going to be that third guy. Is going to be Tim Patrick. Is going to be Khalif Raymond. I could see Raymond having a bigger game. It looks like they're kind of getting him going the last 2 games. He's had bigger games. Like he finally got in the end zone last week, and he's just having bigger games. He's just looking good. He's looking good. Khalif is looking good. Overall, I think we're gonna do well offensively, but don't sleep on that defense in Tennessee. They're a good defense. I'm rambling a lot. And then let's do the prediction. Let's go to the prediction. This is a trap game. I don't even know what the spread is. I don't know what the spread is. Last I checked, I don't even remember what I seen. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm sure it's big. I'm sure it's like 7.5, maybe 10, 10.5, 11. Who knows what it is? I don't believe this is a trap game because, I think all week, Dan Campbell's been talking about it. He's been kind of alluding to it. The media brings it up. Do you guys think this is a trap game? Blah, blah, blah. He's stopping everybody going, listen, man, we're not taking those guys for granted over there. That's an NFL team. They got some really good personnel. They know that they have some good players over there. I don't know if it's scheme. I don't know if it's coaches. It could be a lot. Chemistry, everything. They got some talent on that Tennessee team. It's just not coming forth. On all cylinders. A couple guys here and there making some plays, but not good enough. So he's addressed that. He's like, we're not taking this for granted. So they're not going to come out here ho-hum, laughing, giggling. They're going to take care of business. They're going to win this football game. They are. They're going to win this football game. 17-34, Detroit Lions. I think it's going to be, 20. What is that? 27, 37. That's what night? 17-point win. That's a 17. That's 17-34. That's half. Yeah. So that's a 17-point win. I think they're going to cover whatever. I don't even know what the spread is. I couldn't tell you. It's probably high though. It's probably high. But I think the Lions are coming out and putting 34 on the board. I do. They're the best offense in the league. We're playing one of the best defenses in the NFL, though. I'm not lying. Yardage wise, anyways. You know what I mean? We're both juggernaut offenses and defenses right here. This is strength on strength. This is what this is. This game is strength on strength. So and I don't think their offense is good enough to catch up with us. It's not. It's just not a good offense. And I think our defense is playing well enough. You know what I mean? We have more big moments. So 17-34 Lions. Write it down. Put it in the book. Go to your bookie. Go somewhere and put the money down. Because your boy said so. So, yeah, man. 24 minutes. We're going on 25. But that's it, guys. Thanks for coming in, watching the video. I appreciate y'all. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the bottom right. Notification bell up top. Give it a ring. And don't forget to like, comment, share this out. What do you guys think? Tennessee coming to town, trap game? Let's go, guys. Go Lions, Detroit versus everybody. Boom. Whoop.